Wild berry Twizzlers don't taste good. You might be asking, why are you eating a Twizzler if you're about to read your book? Good question. I'm also asking myself that question. Why would you press record and then eat the Twizzler and then respond to a text message? That's just what I'm doing. A couple weeks ago, my friend Travis, who I do a podcast with, had brought Swedish fish to the podcast, and we podcasted while we ate Swedish fish. That's not the way to do it, but they tasted good, so we ate them. And here we are. You don't get to know what the author is like when you just read the book. Maybe it makes the experience more intriguing or less intriguing. You get to know who I am. In this case, here I am. So, chapter 12, Never Trust a Zombie. Chapter title is Say Anything Else. Like this. The song is by the band Cartel. All right, these are short ones, this I think. Oh yeah, this one's only like 4 pages. Maybe I'll do 2 today. Here we go. Hours have passed since my visit with Rachel. I don't know how many, but the light outside is dimming. I really don't know anything about I really don't know anything right now. I think Rachel said it is Friday, and we went to speak to her parents on Wednesday. Rachel and I only met on Monday. I've only been in Cranston for 8 days. Time flies when you're transforming into a living monster. Surprisingly, the pain has subsided significantly. It happened gradually while I was lying here ruminating over my visit with Rachel. I didn't have the strength to get up, or I would have likely have pounded on the door or checked the window for a viable escape route. Without sufficient strength, I was left to ponder my situation. Initially, it was anger that fueled my thoughts and produced nothing but a list of pointy questions I was hoping to injure Dr. Sutton with. But those faded out of awareness as the pain subsided and new feelings emerged. I didn't even realize that the pain was going away until I had a sudden feeling of comfort. It was a warm feeling, similar to a high fever, but void of the associated pain and aches. I replayed the scenario Rachel had painted for me. I still didn't see the logic in turning me into a zombie, but I tried to make the best of it with a pros and cons list about my new life. This was fine for a few minutes until I remembered my parents and realized I have no idea what they are thinking or what they know about my disappearance for the past few days. My anger towards the Suttons returned, and if it hadn't been for another hour or so of time alone in this room, along with a new sensation in my brain, I might have lit into Dr. Sutton when she appeared with some food for me. I am sitting on the bed when I hear the lock on the door click, followed by a quick knock, and then the door opens. Startled, I swing my legs up and fall back onto the bed. Hi, Eric. How are you feeling? Dr. Sutton asks as though she is making the rounds in a hospital. Though my anger has subsided significantly, I feel a surge of it return, and my sarcasm is in full supply. Fine, Doc. I've never felt so dead in all my life. Dr. Sutton smiles, but from amusement or disgust, I can't tell. Are you hungry, Eric? The anger quickly subsides, unusually quickly, and I decide to cooperate. What do I have to gain from being stubborn in this situation? I don't feel very hungry, not like I would expect to after not eating anything for a few days, but I guess it's kind of like after having the flu and vomiting everything up for several days. You think you should eat, but your body remembers the pain of getting rid of the last things you ate and it hesitates, I answer. Well, I don't think I've ever read anything like that in a textbook during medical school, but I understand what you're saying. Your body certainly did work to get rid of everything in it over the last few days. Mark has been wonderful in taking care of cleaning you up. Your clothes are downstairs. We had an idea of what to expect, so we've been dressing you in scrubs since the beginning. Tell me this. Rather than feeling hungry, do you feel a craving for something that you can't quite identify? The doctor asks. Who is Mark again? I need a program for this show. For the time being, I'll answer her question. Yeah, I have that. It's sort of like I'm anticipating something, but I don't know what. Like I'm waiting for Christmas, but I don't know if that's what I'm waiting for, I say. That's the effect of the virus telling your body you need to eat brain now. Interestingly, it isn't so obvious at first that you know you need brain, but having experienced this all before, I can tell you that that's what it is. Of course, as Rachel has told you, we don't eat human brains. She mentioned you didn't agree that we should be calling ourselves vegetarian zombies. What did you recommend? Carnivals? Yes, or carnivores. Dr. Sutton laughs. I wish I could have been this normal with Rachel earlier. Her mother is the one I should be angry with, but I'm carrying on like normal with her. Maybe it was just the pain. Maybe I really don't mind being a zombie. Or perhaps my solid gold good nature just can't be kept down for long. Well, however you want to define it, we don't eat human brains because we aren't monsters. We may technically define ourselves in a way that could be compared to the fantasy monster that is the zombie, but we aren't monsters and really aren't zombies in the Hollywood fashion at all. I could bore you with the technical details of why the virus needs the body to eat brain, but you won't understand it. Suffice it to say that cow brains are an adequate substitute. It is much more palatable, not to mention culturally acceptable in many countries, even in some areas of the U.S. The only downside is that cow brains don't satiate the craving as well as human brains, but as far as sustenance, there is hardly any noticeable difference. Before you start forming questions you may or may not be afraid to ask, I am speaking from personal experience. Dr. Sutton's voice implies that this topic of conversation is now over with. I won't push it. Besides, I'm more concerned about my murder and my parents than I am about diet. So you brought me some cow brains then? I ask. Yes. Dr. Sutton hands me the covered bowl she brought into the room with her. I sit up in the bed and remove the lid. The smell isn't altogether unappealing, though it is different from anything I'm familiar with. She produces a knife and fork from a pocket on her white lab coat and hands them to me. Next, she produces a cloth napkin and hands it over. Well, you are moving quite well. Rachel reported you were moving and attempting to speak. I was surprised you are transitioning very quickly. I'm momentarily filled with that same rage from a few moments ago. You sound pleased at that. I would have expected you to express some remorse over the spur of the moment murder of your daughter's friend. Hey, that was a good one. Let's see how Dr. Sutton handles it. Dig in. It is better when it is warm. That's all she says. I guess she learned how to keep a straight face. Being accused of murder probably has that effect on most people. She turns to leave, but I stop her with a question, going for broke on my offensive. What did my parents know about all of this? Eat first, and then we'll discuss everything else. Don't get up right away after eating. Give your body a few minutes. Then come downstairs and we'll all talk. She delivers this instruction matter of factly and leaves the room, but this time the door remains open. The craving in my brain is louder now, presumably because the brain, or rather my dinner, is right in front of me. I stick the fork into the bowl. My serving of brain looks like pan-fried chunks of a mixture between fish and chicken. I'm not sure what they prepared it with, but honestly, it doesn't taste that bad. But that might just be the virus speaking. The end. Short chapter. Wow, it was really short. Only 7 minutes. Well, maybe I'll make another couple of these right now because I have time. All right, chapter 12 is down. Be prepared for chapter 13. Coming soon. Bye. Thanks for listening.